guys had a good morning so far? How many of you guys were there last night? Excellent, I'm glad to see you again. We've got a great weekend in store for you guys, and right now it is just kicking off. This is my life on a film set, and you know what that means, right? We have some of the Harry Potter cast members right here in this room. That's right. But first, for those who don't know me, my name is Austin. Are you guys ready to get this party started? Alright, then I want you guys to get your hands together, make as much noise as you possibly can, because our first guest left off the screen and into our hearts the moment she put down her upside-down copy of the Quibbler. You know her as Rowling, sorry, Luna Lovegood. Please welcome to the panel, Ivana Lynch! After you. Alright, next up, known as the twin brothers who had to dye their hair ginger for 10 years. We first met James and Oliver Phelps at King Cross Station as Fred and George Weasley. Ready to board the Hogwarts Express 13 years later, please join me in welcoming to the stage James and Oliver Phelps. Next up, from exploding feathers to exploding water to exploding bridges, it's safe to say that our next guest character always brought a spark onto the screen. We all know him as Seamus Finnegan, Harry's friend and fellow Gryffindor. Please join me in welcoming to the stage David Murray! And last but not least, he's a herbology nut. He's a dance master. He's a wielder of the Sword of Gryffindor. We first met our next guest as he appeared on screen as a nervous and luckless newcomer, Neville Longbottom. But it didn't take long for his true Gryffindor colors to show, and his courage captured everyone's heart. Please welcome to our panel, Matthew Lewis! Nice, ladies, welcome to the stage. How you guys doing today?
Really good, thanks.
Warmer than yesterday? I know Matthew's warmer than yesterday.
Yeah, I was a bit cold just. Got my cup of tea as well, keeping me warm.
There you go. That's good to be prepared. Now here's the deal, guys. This is your turn to ask questions to these guys that you always wanted to know, and I'm going to explain to you how that's going to work. Now, we have people in the audience right now. We have Julia right there. Where's Jason at? Where's Jason? Jason's right here. We've got Aaron on this side. We've got Steven up on that side of the audience. We're going to be going to them to get your questions. So you want to find them right now, or they're going to find you. They're going to get questions ready to go, and we're going to ask them up here. We're just going to go around in a circle. Well, I'm going to kick us off. I'm going to start this one. I'm actually going to throw this one to you, Ivana. Let's see. How about, who was your favorite Harry Potter cast member to work with? Yeah, we're hitting you hard from the beginning. Remember who you were up here with?
I really can't say. I love them all.
We want to know. We want to know. You gotta say. You gotta pick one.
It's true, you do have to pick one.
Yes.
I would definitely go with one of the four that's here right now. That's right, I'll let you go on that one. Just once, you get one. It's not mean. What about two? What if you could pick two?
Yeah, two.
Oh, I said, all right. James, Oliver. Oliver.
James.
Super easy. See? All right, we're gonna throw this out to you guys. Jason, you got somebody out there?
Yep, we have Marissa from Orlando with a question for everyone.
So on Pottermore, there's a lot of really great background information that you don't get to read in the books. And I wanted to know if there's anything in Pottermore that really grabbed your attention or surprised you.
Do you guys want to go down the line with that one? Just quick answer.
They're all stumped. I can see their faces. I haven't done all of Pottermore. I've read up to book 2. I suppose McGonagall's backstory, that was really interesting. Just, cause I know, like, you know, J.K. Rowling is a genius. She kind of covers everything, but I kind of think this is someone we're never going to find out about. And I don't know, it just made her a more sympathetic character to find out of her family's Muggle background and everything. So yeah, probably that. I love the character backstories. Just you reread them, and you're like, oh, that's why she's such a. How do I say it?
James.
I don't think they've even been sorted on Pottermore.
That is true. I've got to be honest. I have been sorted through the sorting hat at the exhibition, and I wasn't actually a Gryffindor.
What did you get sorted
I
as?
was a Hufflepuff.
I'm sure they're okay with that. Oliver, what about you, man?
I was a Gryffindor on that, but in terms of like the backstory and everything, it was quite cool for the character. And to see that like George kind of had like a existence like outside of the Fred and George scenario. Had to be really. Yes, that's quite cool for depth of character.
Devin.
Backstory, I'm not gonna lie, I never read it. There's no point in lying to you all. So, yeah, but I have been sorted and I was a Slytherin.
Not as a spy this time, though.
Sorry?
Not as a spy this time, just...
No, not as a spy. Unfortunately.
Matthew.
I haven't read it or been sorted either. So I don't even have an answer.
Shame on you.
Sorry.
All frauds. Get out.
What do you think I'd be? Go on, Alan, you go on. Hufflepuff.
They're claiming everybody now.
Hufflepuff. Yeah, alright.
He's cool with whatever. Alright, good question. Where's Julia, what do you got up there?
Alright, I have Lindsay from Orlando, and she has a question for Matthew.
Really excited. If you could eat any magical food or drink from the wizarding world, what would it be?
Fire whiskey. I've always wanted to try that. And it's cold right now, so it'll probably help out.
Yeah, it would be a perfect way to stay warm last night for sure. Good question. Steven!
Yes, sir. I've got Michael from St. Cloud. Before I ask this question, just saying it's an honor to ask you guys a question because I'm a huge fan of you guys. But my question is, if you could choose a favorite scene from your movies, what would it be?
Does that ask for anybody specific or just...
All of them, sir.
Matthew, we're going to start with you.
Favourite scene? Do you mean, his microphone's gone. Is that like to film or to shoot, do you reckon? To film or to watch, do you reckon?
We'll say to film.
To film. My favourite scene to film was probably blowing up the bridge stuff in Deathly Hallows Part 2. You know, we had such a laugh, didn't we? We were on that bridge for such a long time, doing all the stunts and stuff required for that out at Pinewood, and it was great because they built so much of it. I mean, you were halfway up the side when you were filming stuff, and
That's right, I was jumping from beam to beam, planting the charges to blow it up,
Yeah.
to blow it up.
it was really cool. It was just like there was so much went into it, and when we actually finally finished it, we blew the bridge up, and there was kind of a total feeling of satisfaction and completion when we did it. It was really cool.
For me, it's not something that I had a big part in. It was actually when Neville stands up to Voldemort. And I just thought Matthew has done an amazing job watching him grow from the very first movie up until the very last movie, and he just outshined. Like, he just completely nailed it. It's by far my favourite scene out of all the movies, because Matthew just nailed it.
Oliver?
Mine was when Harry and Ginny first kiss. And it was awkward to film.
It's like Creeper in the corner.
Yeah. But to actually, it was really good to do because it was a really comical moment as well. And I've actually heard of people do that to friends who are kissing and just going, morning. Really ruin the moment. And
you ruined it well. It's good.
I enjoy doing that.
James.
Mine would be, for you guys who were there last night, the scene where Fred and George put their names in the Goblet of Fire for the first time. It was just so much fun to do. I mean, that scene took 3 days to shoot. Yeah. But it was just really cool, really good fun. And since then, if I've been out and like at a bar, for example, there'll be these. It has happened on a couple of occasions. Someone's on the other side of the bar, like oi oi, and they do that thing where they put the arms around each other and drink like that. So, that was a really fun scene, good fun scene to do, and we got to do some stunts as well in that. So yeah, really good.
Very nice. Mama?
I liked the Bill and Fleur's wedding because it was just cool to see a wizard wedding, how that worked. And I always liked the scenes where there were lots of people and I wasn't really featured because it meant I could just go like I was just in the Harry Potter book and just playing. And also the thing about the extras on Harry Potter, for that set especially, they got a lot of like older actors who had crazy beards, and those kind of guys who have 2-foot beards, they are kind of like wizards, even though they're muggles. They're always really interesting, so it was just funny, like wandering around the set and talking to these would-be wizards in real life if they had magic powers. So
you're saying anybody with a long beard is pretty much a wizard?
Pretty cool, yeah. It's quite an achievement. And the dancing was fun. We got to do like the awkward dad dancing, but then Nuna joins in, so it was fun.
Very nice. Now, Erin, you got somebody down there?
I do. This is Devin Nunez, who is our Hot Topic Sweepstakes winner.
Okay, so my question is for all of you, and I wanted to know if you had total creative control over your character, regardless of what JK did after the books, how do you think you would have developed after the series ended? Your character.
I'll answer straight away.
Too soon? Maybe a rewrite. Bring him back for his own series.
Like Weasley's Wizard Weasley would become like a franchise, and they'd have done that. And maybe the ghost of Fred. Spoiler to anyone who hasn't seen it.
You can bring the ghost back to consult on the store.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you could be all over the shop. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think Seamus would have went off in the pyrotechnics. For sure, like, he was only going that way anyway. So, I think that's what Seamus would do, go off and blow up buildings and do whatever needed to be done.
It's tough, when we completed Neville's story arc, I just thought it was so perfect and so nice the way that he evolved and became the herbology teacher at Hogwarts and all that kind of stuff. And is it Hannah Rabbit, I think, that he eventually settles down with? I thought she wrote such a great backstory for him and what he went on to do. And I don't know how much really I would have changed it, to be honest. I think I'm pretty content with that.
My character, J.K. Rowling, she said in the web chat that she goes on to be a naturalist, and I really like that because I really think Luna's connection with animals is very important because animals are so non-judgmental and they just be, and that's the way Luna is. She just bees herself. She doesn't worry about what anyone thinks. So I do like that, but I don't know about her getting married because she gets married, and I kind of think she's a bit too free-spirited, and can't imagine her being tied down with kids. So, I don't know, maybe she'd start some sort of hippie cult and then lead them around for a few years and then leave. And she's just someone who doesn't stay attached very long.
It's a free spirit.
Yeah, she just explores.
All right. Jason.
Hey, we've got Billy from West Palm Beach with a question for, all right, Ivana.
Hi, Ivana. Just wanted to say first that we really missed you at the Quidditch World Cup last year. And my question is, I know you're a huge Muggle Quidditch fan, and we're wondering if you're going to come back this year.
Muggle Quidditch? Yeah, sure. I mean, I suck at it. I wasn't even playing the game. I had to assist the golden snitch, and I just lost the game for him because he gave me this spray to spray in the other people's face, and I'm just not that competitive. And I was also just so amazed by all the whirling things that I ruined it, and I lost the game for him. Yeah, so I'm
sure they did.
10, but I'll stay way back, so no one, I won't interfere with anyone. Are you on a team?
I played for the FSU team, Florida State University. Go Noles!
What position are you?
I play mostly beater.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Julia.
All right, I have Allie from Deltona, Florida.
I just want to say I love you guys, and I was wondering, what was it like to work with Alan Rickman?
It's not a good start.
To be perfectly honest with you, he's one of the nicest guys you could ever wish to meet. He's quite obviously his voice is very intimidating, but he's a very, very funny man actually. And again, just like all the other adult actors, they're all very encouraging if you had a question, because pretty much all of us were learning as we did the job. So they're all very encouraging to go and ask them questions about how to prepare for a scene or deliver a line or whatever. But yeah, Alan Rickman was just one of those guys who's very, very nice and very great to work with.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying, we're all massive fans of his work and was before meeting him, to go to the read-through and see the Sheriff of Nottingham sat over, across the way, it was just a bit crazy. And so yeah, a huge inspiration to me. And I remember on his last day of shooting, I just went down to his trailer just to say, the last 10 years, working with you was pretty incredible for me. And I really, really appreciate you being involved. And he was just like, come in, sit down, have a cup of tea, just like talking about the future, what to do next, and a bit of advice and stuff. It was just, he didn't need to do that. It was just above and beyond, and that's the kind of people we were fortunate enough to work with. They were all like that. So yeah, it was great.
Very nice.
Steven. Hey there, I have Alexandra from Kansas City, and she has a question for anyone on the panel that would like to answer.
Did J.K. Rowling ever tell you anything about your characters that has not been shared?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Say it one more time.
Has J.K. ever told you, any of you, anything about your character individually that has not been shared with the world?
It's all pretty much out there.
She told me while she was writing book 7, she used to come to the set, and she knew how excited I would get when she gave little facts. So she would just tease me with things. But I remember the time she told me about Rolf Scamander, and this is the boy who eventually marries, and she told me that he was supposed to be in book 7. And he was supposed to impart the information that Xenophilius does about the Deathly Hallows. And all through writing, we wrote letters. She was like, he's in, he's out, he's in, and he didn't make it in. But he was originally in book 7, she told me. And she also told me something about Luna, which I find really useful. It was on number 5, when we were in the Ministry of Magic, and we were like fighting the Death Eaters, and just fighting, and Luna, like everyone else, is kind of afraid and well, not afraid, but like anxious, and they're the tension is high. And I couldn't figure out how Luna would be in that situation. Because she's always so calm. She's like, everyone else is like, oh my god, the Dark Lord's here. And she's looking at the patterns on the ceiling. She's just not with that at all. So I was like, how do I, at the same time, David Yates was very much like, you need to be more afraid. You're in the Ministry of Magic with Voldemort and his gang. So I talked to Jo, and she said, well, actually, Luna, she is the most adjusted to death in the series, like even more than Dumbledore. So she's not worried about like death. She doesn't think that's the end. That's not final for her. But she does care so much about her friends. So she's worried for them. So yeah, that was interesting. It was useful, and I thought it was just crazy because Dumbledore is someone who he seems like. He doesn't care about death, but the fact that Luna's even more sort of spiritual than him, that was significant to me.
Aaron.
Yes, Austin. I have little Jack here from Lake Mary, Florida, with a question for the panel. Jack, what's your question?
Do you guys have any advice for a little actor like me?
How old are you?
10.
Well, that's the age that I first got cast in the movie, you know? So it's never too early to start. I would say, personally, if it's what you want to do, then just keep at it, you know, keep going and believe in yourself and don't listen to anyone else who says you can't do it. Just say, I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Good luck.
He's like, yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, if you've got a script and you've got to learn your lines, just learn your lines. Like, I know it sounds silly, but it's quite easy to put it off. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. But nothing that you do whilst putting it off feels as good as actually doing it there and then. So yeah, just go for it.
And maybe like record yourself so that you can watch it back. So you can say, hang on, I don't like the way I'm doing that, I don't like how I'm doing that. So you can watch it as many times as you want. And then you'll also you can record, say your mum or your dad can read the other parts. And then you can listen to that and not record you. So that you can add in the parts that you want while you're listening to it in headphones and things like that.
All good advice. You got one? Yeah.
I just want to say, I think you're doing great already. Like the fact that you're so young and can stand up in front of all these people. I wouldn't have been able to do that at your age. So I would say just keep being yourself. You know, that is the most important thing, that you preserve your essence. And I want to sound pretentious, but Alan Rickman, he said that something to me, speaking of him. Recently I met him, and I was having a crisis, and I was like, I should go to acting school, I don't know what I'm doing, and he just kind of was like, just be yourself. And he said, because they're looking at this, they're not looking at this, it's about what's inside. So I think you're already doing awesome. The fact that you have the confidence, and yeah, good luck.
Now he's taking photos. He's already on his way. Jason.
I have Isabel from Fort Lauderdale, and she has a question for Matthew.
While you were filming, did you ever learn any life lessons? And if so, then what were they?
Man.
Always trust the stuntmen implicitly. Never ignore anything that they say. You know, growing up on a film set, you know, starting 10, 11 years old, working with adults on a daily basis, yeah, you know, you learn a whole lot of things. I think James sort of touched on it earlier, you know, be as prepared as physically possible for everything you do. You know, there's no point turning up and doing things, you know, like a half job and doing things half measure, and we were really sort of encouraged to do that, and we were given the environment where we could do that and grow, and yeah, everyone I think put 110% into every scene, everything they could do, and I think that's one of the main things I learned, is that if you can do 100%, then do it every single time, and you try and create the best you possibly can.
Absolutely. Nice question. Julia.
All right, I'm all the way up here with Brianna. She's a very big fan all the way from Canada.
If you had a favorite
What would be your favorite wizarding animal?
I've got to say the owls, because the post service back home is absolutely terrible. Honest, I sent off like 20 parcels before I left. Well, maybe 2 weeks ago, and they still haven't arrived to where they're meant to be, so definitely the owls.
I always get Mark out there delivering it like he did last night.
I think the hippogriffs are pretty cool, but I mean, if they were in like this type of world, I think you could have some pretty cool races with them. You could have like a steeplechase followed by some flying event, and maybe even have some half elves riding them.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch it, yeah. It's not really, it's an animal which is in the film, but it's not really a magical animal, but it'd be Fang. He was, like, the actual dog that played him was possibly the coolest dog you've ever met. Like,
Matthew's thinking. He's got his thinking face on.
I think a bit like Gringotts, I just have a massive dragon on my house. I just sit on top of the house breathing fire at people passing by.
You never get your mail then.
I get it myself on the dragon.
And everybody else is in the neighborhood.
I don't know, there's so many, and they're all so cool. That's true, I don't like that. They're a bit creepy. Probably like a pygmy puff. I just think that animals, the fluffier the better, and they're about as fluffy as it gets, and they seem low maintenance, except for the shedding. They just sit on their shoulders. So yeah, pygmy puff. Or, again, a magic cat. I love cats.
You love the cats. Steven.
Hey there, I have Paul from New Jersey with a question for anyone on the panel that would like to answer.
What do you guys have most in common with your characters?
being twins.
Nailed it.
I guess we do like to play practical jokes every so often, and
yes, he does.
Go ahead, tell that story. Last night I was returning to my hotel room, and I walked past Devon's hotel room, and Devon's hotel room had his breakfast card on the side. So instead of Devon having a light omelette, Devon had it.
I had absolutely everything in my omelette.
Apparently the goat's milk couldn't be delivered in time, so...
And the bottle of vodka.
But yeah, going back to the question, yeah, we do like to play practical jokes every so often, and yeah, I guess it wasn't hard playing getting into character, shall we say.
Aaron.
Next, we have a fan question from Twitter.
Hi guys, this is from the Ask HPcast hashtag. If you could have one sip of polyjuice potion, who would you want to be and why?
Anyone in the world. Anyone.
Anyone.
That was a good one.
Can you tell we've never been asked this before?
I don't know. Someone who's, I'd love to have been a professional sportsman of some kind, so like David Beckham or something like that, and then go and have a kick about, pretend I'm David Beckham, and be absolutely rubbish at football. Yeah.
I'd probably do the thing Hermione does in Chamber of Secrets. She does it accidentally, but I would do the cat hierarchy.
You would own it.
So it never changes. I because I'd be things or something. Yeah, and then I would like play with it. I'd keep adding new animals, see how many different animals I could be at one time.
Difference is
I don't know why
you wouldn't stay in the cell. You would come out.
It's great as a pet.
Come on, James.
No, some superheroes, maybe the Human Torch from Fantastic Four. That'd be pretty.
Flame on.
Exactly. Probably like Peyton Manning, like this and that. But I wouldn't want to go back to Denver if anyone ever found out I wasn't actually him.
Are you saying he's not going to win?
No, I'm saying I would win.
Mine's kind of boring. I love show jumping, anything to do with horses, and one of my idols is Paul Dara, and he was just like, years ago he was like the best show jumping rider in all of Ireland and Europe, so that's probably who I'd like to be, just so I can go off and be as good as him. Sorry it's not interesting, and probably nobody knows who he is, but
as long as you do, that's all that matters. Jason.
Hey, we've got Anna from Toronto with a question for Ivana.
Hi, so being a fan of the book series, what was it like when you first met J.K. Rowling?
Oh my God, that was a moment. It was such a surreal moment. Well, it was already surreal because I'd been writing to her for a while, and she said she was going to come to set, but she didn't say when. So it was a big surprise, and it was a day we were just filming, I don't know what scene. But at the moment that she came in, Tom Felton had got me signing a book, and I was very new to it then, and in my head I was still like, wow, I'm signing an autograph for Draco Malfoy. Really was like finding that super cool. And then, this really attractive blonde lady walked in, followed by the producers, and I was kind of like, oh, and I didn't clock it was her first because why would it be? I just didn't think it would. But I knew because the producers were there, I was like, oh, this must be someone important. And then like 5 seconds later it hit, and I was like, I just freaked out. It just was incredible because she's such a warm and like generous person, and she's one of those people who gives you all her time and all her attention whenever she's with you. And then you think, wait, this woman created all this, everything that's around us, and everything that I've been sort of dreaming about and thinking about for the past years, and the fact that it's all contained in one small person is just mind-blowing. And the fact that she's as nice and sweet and amazing as she is, it was amazing.
Julia.
Yes, I have Jeanette with me from Vineland, New Jersey, and her question is for Oliver.
Last night, James told us about how he felt when he found out his character was going to die. How did you feel when you had to film the scene when your brother dies?
Better than Fred felt. It was different. It was really different because at first I thought it would be a closed set, being such an intimate moment. But as we see in the film, it pans back from the Great Hall, and all carnage was unfolded, and you see the death, the injured, and pretty much everything. Right, we're done for here. And it was weird, like getting to an emotional point, and then having eucalyptus spray in my face to try and like get tears and everything. But it was we did about 3 or 4 takes, which is enough really. I think more the fact that I had to cry in front of a room of people, that was probably the weirdest bit. But since then, I've always had things almost weekly sent through to me on Twitter. It's like this huge paragraph that someone's conjured up saying that how we hugged each other at the end and said we loved each other and that it would never be the same again and all nonsense. Realistically, they didn't tell me we'd cut, so I stayed there just lying there. We went to lunch. They went to lunch and I opened my eye and then realised there's no one else on the stage. So. I mean, it was a different type of thing, but the weirdest point though was like the next week when we were filming the exterior shots with Voldemort in the courtyard when when Matt stands up to him when James wasn't there. That was the weird bit for me. That was the main time when he came into it. Okay.
Was he still? Were you still on set, or were you just not there at all? I
was dead. No, I was wrapped. So I wasn't there, which it's quite funny hearing from obviously like all our mates that we've known for the last 10 years still working and knowing that you're not going to be there anymore. That was quite a weird feeling, but you knew that it was going to come, so it was. I guess it was cool to be part of. Although I wasn't actually there, it was still nice to be involved in that imaginary sense. Although it wasn't the last scene we shot together. The last one we did was actually a pickup, wasn't it? Many months after filming a Rat, and it was the battlements when Fred and George are looking out over from one of the turrets, and you can see Voldemort's army rocking up, and all the shields had gone over. And as we were doing that sequence, actually outside of Leeson Studios, the bulldozers were ready to knock the place down. And that was when it was really like, you ready? And it was that was the most poignant bit for me. So I was like, okay, we've definitely finished now, because this thing's coming down tomorrow morning. So that was pretty special, very surreal moment.
Stephen.
Hi, I have Madison and Kaylee from Orlando with a question for the panel.
Hi, I just want to say first, I'm honored to be able to talk to you, and also Ivana, my friend Kaylee, you are her idol, so. My question is, what was the funniest experience you guys have had while filming the Harry Potter movies?
That we can say. There's been so many, to be honest with you. I mean, for us guys, 14 years, and Ivana's 5 or 6. So many funny moments. I'm trying to think of a really...
It's one that stands out right now.
I remember we were filming down a scene in... and we were filming one scene one day, and we came off set, and Liam Gallagher was just standing there, from the lead singer from Oasis. But Matt, you weren't there that day, were you?
No, I wasn't there. I mean, Oasis are my favourite band, and Liam came to visit, and these guys took great pleasure in telling me that they got to meet him, and I wasn't there.
Where were you?
I just wasn't working that day, I was back home. And they knew as well, they knew how much of a fan I was.
I think they did it on purpose.
Yeah. So
it was just pretty surreal to walk out of Gringotts Bank and see, and he was with one of the guys from the Stone Roses, so it was just like, go on, mate.
I mean, we're like, hey man, what's up?
But then we've got all these huge exteriors there. Have you seen the sets? Yeah. I like the train. Well, the whole, it's like a carriage exterior. Actually, I just remembered one which does actually stand out, but we did actually get in trouble for laughing at this. It was in the 5th movie, in the Room of Requirement, when the Room of Requirement is discovered, and everyone's supposed to look all shocked, and the camera kind of pans on one person and pans across to everybody. And by the end of it falls on us guys and Rupert, and every take someone would just go. And when someone does it, then it's just impossible. So.
There were mirrors in that scene, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we were all standing in one line, so you saw it ripple across people's shoulders.
Rupert's the worst for that though. That scene, your scene.
Yeah, it was terrible. Literally took all day, didn't it?
Yeah. Did we even get? There was a line that Rupert had to say to Devon about having you want a fistful of Weasley. Come on. He couldn't say it. And then it just, again, the infectious laughter just spread to everyone. We wasted a full day. It was so hard for you because you were trying to go like, you were supposed to be angry.
That's it, I was meant to be like really annoyed with Harry, and then Rupert comes in and does that, and everything just went downhill for the whole day. I couldn't stop, Matthew couldn't stop, Dan, he just set everybody up.
We took like an early lunch and we were like, just guys, just go get it out of your system.
That didn't work.
10 hours later, still filming the same scene. Aaron, where's Aaron?
Right over here with Mackenzie from Georgia, who has a question for any of you guys.
Okay, so when you see your character, what's the most touching moment you've had with one?
The most what, sorry?
What's the most touching moment you've had with a fan?
Most touching moment you've had with a fan. Anyone?
I had a really random one. I was on holiday in Mexico years and years ago. I was swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. I was quite a way out, and this lady just swam over. So kind of just like bobbing along. And it's like, you in Harry Potter? I'm like, yeah? So, I knew it. Okay, cool, thanks. I just swam back.
She went back and collected her $20. I told you.
Yeah, we get like fan mail and stuff, which is like the most incredible thing. And because of the character that I played, Neville, sort of being this kind of bumbling kid who was bullied and wasn't particularly good at all his magic and stuff, and then he grows up and matures and ends up beheading Nagini. I get a lot of letters from people who sort of have been bullied at school and struggled in childhood, and they said that they've seen the film and it's like that character journey has helped them in their own lives and stuff, and that's the most touching thing I could think of. I mean, as an actor and as a human being, to hear that something that you've done to have that effect is pretty profound. That blows me away. That's pretty special.
I get that too. I get what Matt gets. For the same reason, because Luna, a lot of people who've been bullied, and actually a lot of people who have like Asperger's, things like that, and people who find it hard to relate to other people. Hello, I'm so socially awkward. They always resonate with Luna, and they send letters, and it's so great because when I took on Luna's role, she was someone who I really aspired to be like, and she gave me strength about being a bit different, and helped give me confidence, and now I get that back from other people, from fan letters, and people who've experienced things that I would never experience. Like, I've never been bullied that badly, and I've never had just things like that. And they tell me that, my character, my portrayal, it gives me strength. It's kind of like, it's way bigger than me, and it's kind of vast, and you don't want to take credit for it, but it's also nice to have had a hand in that, and it makes it so much more than a story and just a character. It really does change people's lives, and that's really cool.
I'm sure everybody out there feels that way, am I right?
I think for me it was, fortunately when the films come out, we were always asked to go to all these cool countries and open the premiere and stuff. And we went to Sweden, and there were people who'd been waiting outside the cinema since the first light, just to get a good spot. And we were, beforehand, we said, is there any spare tickets for this? And they said, well, there's your tickets. And we weren't going to go in and see the film through. So we've already seen about 4 times anyway. So we said, okay, so we had the tickets, and we said, can you point out who's been here first? So as we were going in, we said no ticket, and then just got this ticket out, and do you want to go in? And they were like, almost just had a seizure like there and then. They were like, leapt right over the barrier, and tears, crying and everything like that. And it's only really then when you think this is more than just going to the pictures with their friend. This is like the whole thing for them. And seeing that reaction was perfect. Well, we ended up actually doing that then every other place we went to. So, but I'm not sure if the guys from Warner's were happy, because that meant someone had to be there at first light to see who was there first. But it just kind of shows how much it means to everybody around the world.
The most touching thing for me, I think, is being in Harry Potter. We get to go around to a lot of hospitals and meet, say, critically ill children, and just to see, even their parents, they're saying it's amazing that we get to go in and see them. Like, they haven't seen their children smile in so long. Like, there's one girl that'll always stick out, and I met her in Colorado maybe 6-7 years ago. Her name was Amanda, and there's a lady on Harry that was on the first 3 Harry Potters. Her name is Paul Dupree, and she set up a charity called There With Care. So what she does is Warner Brothers would give Paula the rights to have like a mini premiere in Colorado before everybody else got to see the movie. And we invited Amanda out, and me and Amanda became best buddies. Like, she was the apple of my eye, and she loved me. She got to meet Miley Cyrus the same day she met me. And she was saying, Miley, I didn't like Miley, I'd much rather you. Yes. Yeah, like, it's kind of like we'd email each other every week and every second week. We were meant to have a little date, but sadly, by the time we got back over to Colorado, she died. And it was something that always kind of broke my heart. Like, she was... loved her. That's the most touching thing for me.
Jason.
We have our last question of the day. It's going to be from Brianna from Georgia.
If you could pick one spell to use every day, what would it be?
One spell to use every day. What would it be?
Lumos. I actually hit my, you know, you get out of bed and you step on a plug which is upside down. I did that this morning. If my wand was there, I could light and see what I was doing. Yeah.
Probably pick Expecto Patronum, because, I don't know, it just gives you a little lift, and I'd like a little animal galloping around me all the time. So special. Probably. Although I think we're squirrels at the moment, so right now I'd like a squirrel.
Use both.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to use any spells. Because everything would just go wrong.
Always with the explosion.
Yes, stay away.
I think I'd like Laura, because I'm always getting locked out. It would definitely save any embarrassment when the neighbour comes home and says, Mr. Key again, yeah, that would really help.
Yeah, that's a good one. I drive a lot, and I get road rage a lot. And there's so many times on the road, like, Avada Kedavra would just come straight out.
You got a dragon too, so I mean...
Seriously, people need to stop messing with me on the road. Like, I've got a dragon, it's coming out. I don't know.
It's dangerous.
See, I just imagine you doing that, pulling into your house with the dragon on the roof.
What a day, man.
That'd be awesome.
Alright, man, that is all the questions that we have time for now, guys. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Now, remember, we're going behind the scenes at Pottermore.com at 11:30 right here. We also have a dueling demonstration at 3:30, and that you definitely want to check out. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Give it one more time for our panel. Thanks, guys. See you guys at 11:30 for the Pottermore.